In today's video, taking a 25% body fat and bringing it down to 15% body fat. What do your calories need to look like and how long is this going to take you? Can you be ready for summer? And we're starting right now. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's question comes down to your calories, it comes down to your lifestyle, it comes down to your choices. But I also want to set some realistic expectations on how to take a physique that looks like this, where I was, I might have been around 25% body fat. I was around 230 pounds, which actually works out well for this question. Now, I diet down and get shredded, but I'll show you a picture here where I'm about 210 pounds, around 12 to 15% body fat. And that's the question for the day is, what should my calories look like? I want to give you guys some specifics so you can get things going, but I also want to set some realistic expectations and not be someone on the internet that's just telling you should do this in 30 days. No. So let's talk about today's question. Hey, Paul, huge fan of yours and hoping to contribute and help others. I really enjoyed your last video on how to lose love handles. So if you didn't watch that video, that might address a lot of the questions in this video. So it's going to be a lot of repeat information, but I'm going to give you some more specifics to your stuff. I have a quick question. I'm around 238 pounds, somewhere between 25 and 30% body fat. I want to get down to 15% body fat for summer. Yeah, I know that feeling. How many calories should I be consuming and how long do you think it will take? Thank you. All right. So first of all, great question. I think a lot of us right now, at least in Florida, the weather's warming up. Other parts of the country, I don't know. But we know to look good in the summer, you got to start way ahead of summer, guys. If you're waiting until June to look good for July, sorry. You might as well just start drinking and enjoy the rest of your summer. But I want to talk about some realistic expectations. And let's talk about where you're at. So I had to do some assumptions, but I plugged you into a calculator that I use. At 238 pounds, I put you at about 6 feet tall, and I put your waist at 40 inches. Just some rough estimates, right? So that gives me a body fat percentage of around 25, 26%. So what does this look like in regards to weight loss? This means we're probably going to have to get down to around 190 pounds. Now that might sound extreme, but that's the reality of how far fat loss has gone for you. And it probably means your waist is going to get down to around 36 inches. Okay. Now, depending on where it was before, I think I had you at about 44 inches in my before. So 25 to 30% body fat for a man, it's pretty heavy. We're talking about, we're nearing that place where people are like, you might be termed obese. If you're a taller guy, you might just be considered like a big dude, right? And so some of us, I'm 6'3". I've weighed 240, 250 pounds before. The picture I show you guys here, the most common picture I show you is me around 230 pounds, okay? But I've been heavier. I just don't tend to take a lot of pictures when I don't like the way I look, but I've got some pictures of myself at that 240, 250 range. And I'll tell you this, even at 240, 250 pounds, I got compliments. People are like, man, you look big, you look great. Well, I felt great in the gym. I felt great in my shirts, but I did not feel great putting on a pair of shorts and having those love handles, having a little bit of abdominal fat, and so what tends to happen is we have these shifts in desire. As a man, I know sometimes it's all about seeing that scale go up, right? The bulk life, getting stronger. And it's exciting when you're bulking and every time you go in the gym, you're putting more weight on the bar, but there's a price to pay for that. And it's something that if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I might just say, hey dude, like, you're not actually adding more muscle. You're just getting fatter. Okay. Adding muscle and adding strength, you can actually get stronger without adding any body fat. Okay. There's an adaptation to training that allows us to get stronger through the improvement of our skill. Adding muscle takes time, right? You're going to be adding ounces and grams to your skeleton over weeks, months, and years. Adding body fat takes no time. You can eat like a jerk for, a few weeks and you'll notice more body fat. You'll notice your waist pudging out. You'll notice your face getting puffy. You'll notice that lower back fat. So the first thing that we got to do really is rein you in. Now, my favorite thing to do with my clients is do a diet recall. I can't do that here because you asked me a question on Instagram. Let me explain what a diet recall is. If you just track what you're doing for a week, you'll get a good idea of where your calories are. Now, the idea here is you cannot change what you normally do. If you normally have a bottle of wine before bed and eat a pint of ice cream and you get up and go to the McDonald's drive-thru on your way to work and get a McGriddle, don't change that. Track where your calories are at. Most people that are very heavy have a fantastic metabolic rate. Why? Because to maintain that much weight, you've got to consume a good amount of calories and not do much cardio. So your natural inclination is your body's going to be burning a lot of calories. Now you might just be burning far fewer than you're actually consuming. But by figuring out what that actual number is, by going, you know what, I am eating about 3,500 calories a day. And it might not be a consistent thing. It might be 4,000 one day and 2,000 the next, but over the course of a week, you'll get an average. The first thing I'll do with those people that give me their diet recall is to go, okay, what are the diet changes that we can make? The first thing that we can do is I can almost always tell you this, you swap your fat and your protein numbers. Most people are under consuming protein and over consuming fat. Now, the benefit there is, first of all, protein is going to really help us focus on building more muscle. It's also going to help us stay fuller longer. It also has half the calories of fat. So if you just, let's say you're getting in about 150 grams of fat a day and you're getting only like 60 to 70 grams of protein, if you swap that and go 60 to 70 grams of fat a day and 150 or more grams of protein, you're going to notice a really drastic improvement, especially if you're in the gym lifting some weights, but mostly in your caloric intake. All right. You're going to be swapping those calories out. And the beautiful thing there, even though those calories might have been equal, what I just said, the beautiful thing there is that you're actually going to start to notice the difference immediately in your performance and your recovery. Protein being paramount. Now, protein timing might not be as important for protein intake, meaning as long as you're getting your protein total for the day, next important thing below quality of protein is going to be how you time that. I'm not so focused on these details. When people talk about, oh, I like to do fasting, these things really only matter for what works best for you. Over a 24-hour window, it doesn't matter if you break your meals up evenly 4 or 5 times a day or if you do fasting. If calories and macros are equal, you're going to look the same and get the same results. So really focusing on your intake for the day. So what's the number one trait for people that I notice have success in this? They plan their meals ahead. They're not waiting until they're hungry or till it's time to eat to figure out what they're going to eat. They know the next day. And that's why it starts with an app. Now, the one that I'm using is called Nutritionix. And what it allows me to do is plug in my meals. And I get such a creature of habit kind of routine that I already know what I'm going to eat the next day for breakfast and the next day for lunch. And I, pack some food away in the fridge to really set myself up for that success. But the question you asked is, where should your calories be? And without knowing more, I present to you the ProPhysique calculator. Okay, you go to prophysiquemacros.com. You can plug in your information, your age, your height, your activity level. It's going to give you calories to start with, even if you haven't done a diet recall. Diet recall is better, but the next best thing is using a calculator, letting it tell you what you should use, and you can set it to rapid fat loss. Do that for a week. I promise you, there's going to be an improvement from what you're doing now. As long as you're adherent to that, it can also help you with your macros per meal and how many meals per day. If you want to do 1, 2, 3, or 4, it can give you like a breakdown of what your meals should look like. So you're getting the proper protein, carbs, and fat for every meal. So how long should this take? Okay. I just told you it's going to be 48 pounds of fat loss. Can you do this by summer? I think you can do it by summer, but you're probably going to have to lose about 3 pounds per week to really see a significant change. And to do that, it's not going to be just about your diet, man. It's going to be about your lifestyle. So what does your daily routine look like? Calorie deficits are created through the amount of calories that we burn naturally throughout a day. Okay, that's our basal metabolic rate. Then you got to consider how many calories we take in on a given basis, right? And those two things balance out. Now you can add something like activity. A lot of people think exercise burns a lot of calories. Exercise does not burn that many calories when you're just going to the gym or doing something like that. However, if you add in activity, intentionally creating more steps throughout the day or cardiovascular exercise, I find this combined with being diligent with your diet can have a really profound impact. And I will say this, men are able to drop a considerable amount of body fat rather quickly. Why? Because as you're starting to lose body fat, as you're eating proper macros, as you're getting good sleep and taking care of yourself and doing some resistance training and being intelligent about your routine, your hormones are actually going to start to really pick up. When you're obese or really overweight, you're going to start to suppress some of the more important hormones like testosterone, and you're going to have an increase in some of the hormones that are problematic like cortisol. When you start to bring that cortisol down and start to bring that testosterone level back up, it's invigorating and your body really starts to ramp up the speed with which it loses body fat. I can tell you, I've had many a male client come to us, not only the people that do our transformation challenges, but the people that work with our coaches. And, when we have our coaches meetings and discussions, we always say how if we have a husband and wife together, the women just get frustrated with how quickly men can lose body fat as compared to women. Now, I typically say 1% of your body weight per week. And at 238 pounds, that'd be about 2.5 pounds per week. That would get you to that range of about 190 pounds by the summer. It would take a concerted effort, but I promise you it'd be worth it because you would look like a completely different person with your shirt off, with your board shorts on. And please, please, please keep resistance training at least 3 days a week. You don't want to go through this process and end up with less body fat, but also end up with less muscle. Okay, that's not a good look. Okay, muscularity, some density to your muscles, that's going to give your body a nice shape and look. You don't want to end up at that place that we call skinny fat, where even though your body weight indicates that you should be healthy, you have no tone to your muscle. You have no volume to your muscle, pushing out against that skin, giving your skin and your body a nice look. You just end up being kind of squidgy. It's a real problem for those that go through these aggressive forms of fat loss. So while I'm saying you can be aggressive, especially initially, you might even lose 3, 4, 5 pounds a week. That's going to slow down over time. My suggestion would be to set up a routine where you're planning your meals ahead, using the calorie calculator we gave you. Your goal weight for this is 190 pounds. I would set your protein at 190 grams a day. I'd probably start off pretty aggressively and put your fats around 50 or 60 a day. And I'd probably start off pretty aggressively with carbs and drop them all the way down to about 200 a day. And I would have you walking at least 60 minutes a day. Now that could be flat outside walking, that could be walking incline, that could be on an elliptical, but what this is going to do, it's going to be a two-pronged approach. You're going to bring those calories into range. You're going to move more. I'd have you in the gym 3 or 4 days a week. And so we're going to just see this profound impact, focusing on improving your sleep and your daily routine. And what's going to really start to happen is your body's going to start working for you and not against you. Now, for this period of time, I would highly suggest you either really, really limit alcohol or just cut it out completely. If you want to really limit it, stick to things that are kind of low on the calories, right? Your low calorie beers, maybe just alcohol with a calorie free mixer, like, soda water or something like that. But try to just limit it to like 1 day per week. When I'm really trying to look my absolute best, I just cut out alcohol altogether. It doesn't enhance your physique in any way. I understand people want to have a social life, and there's certainly no problem with that. So you just got to understand what you're risking if you're trying to make this happen. And sometimes it's nice to just kind of go all in for a period of time of, say, 30, 60, 90 days, really get after it. We are going to be announcing our summer shredding challenge. I don't know if that's going to be the name. I think somebody else might own that. But the idea is we're going to start a challenge here in the next amount of time where we really focus on getting shredded for summer. So I will provide that because that gives us a deadline. That's another key to this. If you have a deadline, if you have a date that's important to you, but setting up your daily routine with nutrition, with training, with cardio, really focused around this goal, saying no to the things that might prevent you from getting there. If you do go out to eat, track it, be intelligent, look up what's at that restaurant before you go. That's one of the real tricks of the dieters that I know. I'm not someone that believes you need to bring your Tupperware everywhere you go, but I think you need to make healthier choices wherever you're at. Restaurants all have healthy choices now. Okay, I'm not talking about In-N-Out Burger, but I'm talking about most restaurants you go sit down, they're going to have an option for you that's going to fit your daily goals. All right, guys, hopefully this helps you understand how long it's going to take you to lose 38 pounds at 3 pounds a week. You're talking about 12, 16 weeks. That's about how long it's going to take you. Now, we're already into April, so that means by June, you should start to be really seeing the physique that you're after. And then you got to decide how hard you go this summer, if you want to keep it or keep it going. And maybe you look great for the fall. Who knows? But the point is, set yourself up for success. Don't get married to the scale. It's going to fluctuate. Pay more attention to the averages and just really allow your body to do the work for you by giving it what it needs to create that deficit, kind of recomposition along the way, and just really enjoy the process. It's really exciting to see the inches come off the waist, to see those love handles disappear. And there's really, thinking back to the first time I ever dieted down and got shredded, I'll never forget. I went to a party with a group of friends that we used to do every summer. And I'll never forget ripping off my shirt to play volleyball, and everyone kind of freaked out, like, holy cow, I had been dieting for a bodybuilding show and I was probably a few weeks out. And I just remember that response. And listen, it's part of this is about feeling good about yourself and those kind of things. While it's not the entire reason I do them, there is an element of like pride in doing something that most people don't do, or even better, setting an example for people. Other people in my life have since reached out to me for help. I love helping you guys, but there isn't a sense of accomplishment that goes along with doing something that it can't be bought. You cannot buy a great physique. Sure, you can have someone help you with your meals, but you've got to get up and do the training. You've got to get up and do the cardio. You've got to say no to the things that are going to throw you off course. That can't be bought. That shows that you take pride in yourself. And to others from the outside looking in, that gets them excited. So yeah, do the work and enjoy the process. And hopefully I'll see you on the beach this summer and we'll rip off our shirts and we'll walk around and we'll feel good about ourselves. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow.